FinTech Open Summit hosted by Niti Aayog in collaboration with PhonePe, AWS, as well as EY. Vijay Chandok from ICICI Securities, Lalit Keshri from Crow, and Kavita Subramaniam from Upstocks joined in for an interesting panel discussion moderated by Nitin Kamath from Zerodha to talk about the rapidly changing investment landscape in India. Stay tuned for more updates. A very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch powered by HSBC. I'm Priya Sheth, and joining me on this very interesting panel is expert from the utility space. I have with me Rahul Dhingra from AHA Homes, and I have with me Hani Gupta from Truphe. Thank you very much for joining us today. I want to begin by talking a little bit about how the utility space has really emerged into prominence. We're seeing a lot of activity, a lot of new firms also entering into the space. Tell us a little bit about the kind of traction that you've seen amid this pandemic. Let's begin with you, Rahul.
So I think the pandemic's generally been a time for introspection for the entire country. So a lot of businesses have looked back at their existing setups and seen, what the growth horizon is, and that brings a lot of opportunity because most of the time, most businesses are focused on key growth metrics and just keep hitting that quarter on quarter or year on year. Here, we've all got a chance to introspect and see new opportunities and newer ways of doing things. So I think as a sector overall, there's this movement. A lot of spends have come in from consumers. They've been staying at home more. So the pandemic's definitely affected it in a way where the economy, the ecosystem around the economics of these businesses have changed, and we're all adapting to that. So if you look at the way we consume energy, at some point we were distributed across our homes and workplaces, and now a lot more work from home was seen during the pandemic. So the sector in general has seen a lot of energy saving demands. Consumers are getting more conscious, looking at more eco options. Renewable energy and even just energy savings has been great. So there's a consumer requirement, and that really pushes eggs on businesses to be able to adapt and provide those devices. So I think the energy sector will see a big push forward, and even the government is getting more conscious about it.
Right, Hani Gupta, I want to come to you to talk a little bit about Truphe and a little bit about how the company has seen a huge amount of growth over the last couple of months. In fact, there was a recent announcement by Upscaler also in terms of investment into Truphe. So tell us a little bit about how the last couple of months have been for you.
So thanks a lot, Priyashi. So actually, recently we have announced the deal with the Upscaler, and we are really looking forward to it. Okay, so last 2 years has been phenomenal for us with the pandemic hitting. Although people were suffering there, but for the e-commerce company it was an opportunity. So there was almost 3 times growth in the terms of the revenue, and more and more people start joining the e-commerce space. New users, new buyers were coming in. They were relying upon the prepaid and all those things. So a lot of new people have came in. A lot of that is tremendously growing over a period of time, and hence we have continuously growth over the last 3 months. We almost doubled and 3 times the sales what we were actually doing earlier.
Right. Thanks for that. I want to come to you, Rahul, to talk a little bit about what the demand is going forward in 2022. We understand that utility companies will have a massive growth rate because there is just so much attention towards the companies at this point in time. So tell us a little bit about what your roadmap is for 2022.
Sure. So, as a smart homes company, what we've seen is a demand from 3 sectors. One is the residential space. I think that's also been a part. The ecosystem moved up because of the real estate boom. Also, a lot of people want to now spend time at home, so they've started consciously looking at investing in new homes for themselves rather than renting it out. So a lot of renovation and new homes coming up, and that gives us an opportunity as a smart homes company to be able to provide automation products which help save energy, as well as of course provide a great feel to the customer. Then we've seen the sector in the corporate. Everybody's again, because of the pandemic hitting, a lot of the corporate space is now looking at cost savings. So energy becomes a key aspect of cost savings for the corporate sector. So, we recently had a couple of meetings with a fairly large set of corporate companies who were looking at reducing the electric bills, and they wanted to look at both solar energy as well as the using automation to be able to save energy in any way. So it could be as simple as an experience about, you walk into a basement of a, corporate building and you see all the lights on, and then really they should really only be on when there are cars moving or someone's really stepping down from their cars. So I think the consciousness towards energy savings becomes is something that, really got picked up during the pandemic, because one, as companies, kind of the economics went for a toss. So they're looking at ways of cost saving. Home people have started spending, more time at home, so that the residential space kicks up. And then we have, malls, etc. All of them trying to, with being hit by the pandemic, looking at any ways to save costs. So the sector in general is woken up to, this space. And I think it's a very exciting year ahead. We're actually in a growth phase ourselves. We've just, planned for 12, centers where we meet corporates and, homes alike, where we display our products. So we're moving from one center in Mumbai to 12 centers across the country. And our revenue projections are looking great, looking at $8 million annual revenue this year. So I think the pandemics, as Hani rightly said, while it's been a little bit of suffering on the personal front for people, I think businesses have been dazzled by both new opportunities as well as being able to optimize their existing businesses. So overall, I think the sector is going to move forward pretty hard quarter on quarter this year.
Right. Thanks for that, Rahul. Coming to you, Hani Gupta, to talk a little bit about what your plan is for 2022, in terms of growth, in terms of scaling up. What is the strategy out there?
So actually, you're already aware that we have got a pact with Upscalio recently. So if I tell about the environment right now, there are a lot of big money coming up. There's a lot of venture funding coming. There are a lot of brand companies coming up into the space. The space is getting very much competitive now. So there's a lot of expertise required. Expertise in terms of product identification, product research, product logistics, customer service, everything we require expertise for the next leg of growth. So with that, we tied up with Upscalio, whom we are trusting upon the expertise part, which is missing for the next leg of growth. So we are trusting them for that. And together with them, we are going to together with them, we are focusing to grow further upon the whatever we have built till date, and take the business to the next level, where we are targeting to grow for 3 to 5 times from current revenue where we are today.
Are there any specific focus areas that would be of importance for you, that the company would be focusing on?
So there are a lot of things we are. Firstly, we are going to streamline the operations parts. So we are going to scale to multi regions. We are going to grow. We are going to improve the product portfolio or the offerings we are having currently. We are working upon the pricing part also. We are going to increase making us sourcing much more stronger than what we are actually doing right now. There's increased focus upon the marketing and how to beat the competitor, whatever the other brands are there in the competition, how to take up head on. So there is a lot of focus on almost all departments. We are working on all departments with the help of Upscalio. The goal is to beat the competition and meet our revenue targets, which we are set for next 2 to 3 years.
Right. Rahul, I want to talk to you a little bit about investment in the space, because as Hani very rightly mentioned, that there is a lot of, investment and investor interest in the space. Tell us a little bit about what is your strategy for raising funds? Is there a requirement at this point in time that will aid the business to scale up to the next level of growth?
Yeah, so I think India has generally seen a fairly large set of investments coming into startups, and we've been able to rapidly scale and kind of utilize the opportunities that the pandemic gave us, and in general as well. So for us, our smart homes is now we're raising $20 million as our Series A to scale to 75 centers across India, and our aim with those centers is to provide consulting services to corporates and homes alike. So new buildings, residentials coming up. So we want to make sure that we're there across multiple cities to be able to advise both the real estate companies as well as corporates as well as home buyers on how to optimize their living standards with both automation devices which add value in terms of luxury as well as energy saving. So we're looking at both ends of the spectrum, where the residential builders are looking at providing something premium and making sure customers are with the tech that surrounds us. I think there's a lot of awe around automation products. So you could be entering a building and see the lights just turn on or dim down during the evening. yeah, there's so many such devices which bring so much order to the customer. So residential real estate is trying to utilize that to kind of market themselves to new home buyers, and home buyers are obviously looking at energy savings, and corporate specifically. I think they're looking at introspecting their cost uh, in the ecosystem, and then uh, for us this year, growth is all about being able to reach out to as many of these customers that we can. So spreading across 25 centers is important. That's the future plan for us. And then we have a $20 million raise planned for the business at this point.
Right. So $20 million is something that you're looking forward to take the business to the next leap of growth. That's an interesting number to put out there, considering that, I want to talk a little bit about how roll-up firms in the market are considering utility as a very important space. And for that, I want to come to you, Hani Gupta, because Upscale has been a roll-up firm. It's taken, Truphe, and it's planning to take it to the next level in terms of growth drivers. So was there any thought process behind integrating with Upscale at this point in time as a founder? What is going on in your mind when Upscale approached you?
So what is happening before, prior to Upscale, I was already in touch with other roller brands also. So we were having discussions with them, and some of them were not impressive to me. Some of them were not very realistic in terms of what projections they were making. So when Upscalio happened to me, I was very much impressed with the projection, their realistic approach, and their expertise and what they have shown in the last 6 to 7 months. So I was very much impressed about it. So what is happening? As I mentioned, the space is becoming very, very competitive. There are brands for marketplaces. Okay, there's big money. There are 8 to 12 roller brands which are picking up brands in from e-commerce or the marketplace world. So somewhere in the coming years, in the next 3 to 5 years, there will be a lot of competition. There will be requirement of expertise at all levels. If we are not going to do it, you will be lag behind. There's a gap getting created, and we at Truphe were realizing that for the future growth or the fast growth which we are aiming for, we need to fill up that gap. And that is where we discussed with Upscale. They liked the potential they found the potential in the Truphe brand, and we found the expertise which we are looking from in Upscale. And that way we both came together and framed the future plan for the brand, that whatever realistically we are going to achieve in next 3 to 5 years, what are kind of expertise, what kind of a manpower is required. That plan has been developed, and based on that, we are now projecting for the future growth leg of our brand.
Right. Thanks for that, Hani Gupta. I want to come to you, Rahul, to talk a little bit about, if collaborations, tie-ups, inorganic kind of deals at this point in time are the way forward, considering that we're seeing a lot of traction in the space where we're seeing a lot of acquisitions happening. We're seeing a lot of collaborations happening as well. So tell us a little bit about if you're open to such collaborations or what the thought process is behind this.
Yeah, so I think the environment is collaborative when there's a rising field, and it's less stark competition and more about growth opportunities which can be synergetic. So if you ask me, I think from the energy space, smart home space, it's a very new field as of today. So in the sense, it's a sunrise industry. A lot of people that I meet in the industry today, or customers specifically, are seeing these things for the first time. While they've heard about it, they've not really seen it. So I think I look at a lot of competition as well as a lot of people, companies in the same similar industry, if not the exact same, with the same set of goals. And I've had very healthy discussions with my real competition. There are mergers and acquisitions. We made an offer to a smaller company in recent times for an acquisition, considering the larger goal in mind. And I think there's a lot of like-mindedness in the space. So if you look at energy and smart homes, I think it's a nascent industry. This happens when the industry is fairly nascent, and the goal is so large that you're not really competing at all. You've got all, I don't think there's any monopoly or duopoly formed in this space. Yes, it's primarily about everyone trying to get more numbers, and there are lots of customers to be acquired. So there's no single player who's going to go and acquire everything. I think so. I think there's opportunity for synergies and mergers and acquisitions, but consolidation happens once the competition gets bigger. So I think in the early stage, synergies is what we'll talk about. Maybe 2 to 3 years from now, when the space gets hotter, and there will be hopefully we'll be the one rising into a monopoly or a duopoly situation, and then that's when we can talk about consolidation and mergers and acquisitions further.
All right. And that now, gentlemen, thanks very much for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure speaking to the two of you. Thanks for your time.